Jia wiped sweat from her forehead as she collected plant samples in the dense jungle. The air was hot and sticky on this distant planet. The two suns beat down through gaps in the tall trees. She was alone but not afraid. As Earth's best xenobiologist, she had visited many strange worlds. Just one more sample, she muttered, reaching for a glowing blue flower. A shadow passed overhead. Jia looked up. Something big was moving above the trees. She had been on this planet for 3 weeks and had never seen anything like it. The ground shook. Birds with 6 wings flew away in panic. Jia grabbed her sample case and ran toward her small research ship. Too late. A blinding light shot down from above. Jia froze in place, unable to move. Her muscles wouldn't work. She felt herself rising into the air. "No," she screamed, but no sound came out. Darkness took her. Jia woke up in a cold metal room. The walls were dark green with strange markings. She lay on a hard surface that hummed with energy. Her research clothes had been replaced with a simple gray jumpsuit. "Where am I?" she whispered, touching a small cut on her head. A door slid open with a hiss. Jia's heart stopped. A tall figure stepped in. It stood on 2 legs but was not human. Its skin was covered in small green-gray scales that shimmered under the lights. Yellow eyes with vertical pupils studied her. The creature wore some kind of armor with symbols that matched the ones on the walls. "Human female. Awake," it said in a deep voice. The words were in English but sounded wrong, like they were pushed through the wrong kind of throat. Jia backed away until she hit the wall. "Who are you? What do you want?" The creature tilted its head. "I am Commander Tai of the Vrak Empire. You are now property of the Empire." "I am not property," Jia said, finding her courage. "I am Dr. Jia Kim, xenobiologist from Earth. Taking me is an act of war." Commander Tai made a sound that might have been a laugh. "War requires equals. Humans are not our equals." He stepped closer. Jia noticed that he was nearly 7 feet tall. His clawed hands could easily break her in half. "You were chosen," Ta said. "I watched you. 3 weeks you survived alone. Most humans would have died. You were watching me the whole time." Ta nodded. "You showed resourcefulness. The others wanted to take a military human. I said no. Scientists understand value. Soldiers only understand death." A smaller Vrak entered the room and whispered something to Ta. The commander's yellow eyes narrowed. "Take her to the science division," Tai ordered. "She works there now." The smaller Vrak grabbed Jia's arm. Its scales were rough against her skin. "Wait," Jia said to Ta. "What do you want from me?" Ta looked at her for a long moment. Something passed across his reptilian face. Not kindness, but perhaps not cruelty either. "You will help us understand the species we collect," he said. "Your knowledge serves the Empire now." "And if I refuse?" Tay's lips pulled back, showing sharp teeth. "Then you serve as food for the Kalag." "The what?" "Pray you never find out, human." As Jia was pulled from the room, she caught Ta watching her with an odd expression. The door closed, and she was led down a long corridor filled with other aliens in similar gray jumpsuits. Some looked at her with pity, others with curiosity. She was on a ship, she realized. A massive one. And Earth probably had no idea where she was. Jia clenched her fists. She would not break. She would watch, listen, and learn. Whatever this Empire wanted, whatever this Kalag was, she would find a way to survive. And maybe, someday, escape. Little did she know that Commander Ta was still watching her on a screen, his clawed finger tracing her image with what could almost be called fascination. 2 weeks passed on the Vrak ship. Jia learned quickly. She had to. The aliens who ran the science lab did not like to repeat instructions. The lab was huge, with walls lined with tanks. Inside were plants, insects, and small animals from dozens of planets. Jia's job was to study them and write reports. Her knowledge of biology helped her understand things even the Vrak scientists missed. "You sleep now," said the guard at the end of her shift. "Back tomorrow." Gia nodded and followed him to the area where captives lived. The room she shared with 5 others was small and cold. 3 humans and 2 aliens from worlds Gia didn't know. One of the humans, a man named Han, sat up when she entered. Han had been a prisoner for 3 years. His face was thin, but his eyes were still sharp. "How was your date with the lizards?" he asked. Gia sat on her hard bed, unlearning their language. Han raised his eyebrows. "Why? Planning to make friends?" "Knowledge is power," she replied. "The more I understand them, the better my chances of escaping someday." Han laughed without humor. "No one escapes the Vrak, especially not now that we're on the command ship." "Command ship? This is Commander Tay's personal warship," Han explained. "One of the biggest in their fleet. They say he's never lost a battle." Gia remembered Ta's yellow eyes, the way he'd watched her. "Tell me about him." "Ta, he's dangerous. Different from other Vrak. They follow strength and tradition. Ta uses his brain. That makes him unpredictable." Han lowered his voice. "And he keeps the Kelag." Gia felt cold. "The Kelag." Ta mentioned it. "What is it?" Han's face paled. "The Kelag is their beast, a monster they use for hunting and execution. I've only seen it once from far away. I can't describe it. Just pray you never meet it." A bell rang, signaling lights out. As darkness fell, Jia lay awake thinking. The next day, Jia was sorting specimens when the lab door opened. Commander Ta walked in, followed by 2 guards. The Vrak scientists stood at attention. "Continue," Ta said, and they returned to work. Jia kept her head down, but she could feel Ta watching her. He moved to her station. "Human," he said, "show me what you're doing." Jia explained her work in simple terms. To her surprise, Tay asked intelligent questions. He seemed genuinely interested. "You learn our language," he said suddenly in the Vrak tongue. Jia hesitated, then replied carefully in the same language. "Small words only." Tay's eyes widened slightly. "Impressive. Most species don't bother. Most species don't plan ahead," Jia said before she could stop herself. The lab went silent. The head scientist, a Vrak named Bach, hissed at her. "You will show respect to the commander." Tai held up his hand. "It's fine, Hawk." He studied Jia. Humans are known for their adaptability. It is why they spread so far despite being physically weak. Before Jia could respond, alarms began to sound. Tai touched a device on his wrist. "Bridge report," he commanded. A voice answered. "Rebel ships approaching, Commander. 3 vessels." "Battle stations," Tate ordered. He turned to the guards. "Return all prisoners to holding." As one guard grabbed Jia's arm, another prisoner tried to run. The guard dropped Jia and chased him. In the confusion, Jia backed away from the fighting. A door at the far end of the lab stood partly open. Without thinking, Jia slipped through it. The corridor beyond was dark and unused. Jia heard roars in the distance, deep, powerful sounds that made the floor vibrate. The Kelag. It had to be. Instead of running away, Jia found herself moving toward the sounds. Something pulled her forward, a feeling she couldn't explain. Behind her, she heard Ta's voice calling for her, but it was too late. She had already found another door, and it was opening. The door slid open. Jia stepped into darkness. Only a few dim lights glowed along the floor. The room was huge. She could feel the empty space around her more than see it. The air felt different here, warmer and thick with a strange smell. The roaring had stopped. Now, there was only silence. "Hello," Jia whispered. Her voice echoed. Something moved in the darkness. Something big. The floor trembled. Jia should have been scared. She should have run. But the strange feeling that had pulled her here kept her feet planted firmly on the ground. A light flickered on overhead, dim but enough to see. Jia gasped. Before her stood the largest creature she had ever seen. It was twice the height of Commander Ta. Its body was covered in black scales with streaks of dark blue. Powerful legs ended in clawed feet that could crush a human with one step. Its head was massive, with 3 sets of glowing eyes, gold, green, and blue. This was the Kalag, the monster everyone feared. But instead of attacking, it lowered its head and looked at her. Those strange eyes blinked slowly. Then the most unexpected thing happened. A voice spoke inside Jia's head. Asterisk, you are not afraid. Interesting. Asterisk. Jia stumbled back. Did you just talk to me? Asterisk, your mind hears mine. Rare for a human. Asterisk. You're telepathic, Jia whispered in wonder. The Vrak don't know, do they? The Kalag made a sound like rocks grinding together. It took Jia a moment to realize it was laughing. Asterisk, they forgot. They choose to forget many things. Asterisk. Slowly, Jia stepped closer. What's your name? Asterisk, my kind do not use sounds as names, but you may call me. Asterisk. An image flashed in Jia's mind. A star burning bright blue. Da, Jia said, the word coming to her lips without thought. It means great or large in my language. Asterisk da. Yes, I accept this name. Asterisk. Jia reached out her hand, but stopped short of touching the creature. They said you were a monster. A beast they use for hunting and killing. Asterisk, I am what they made me. But I was not always so. Asterisk. Suddenly, the door burst open. Lights flooded the room. 5 Vrak guards rushed in, weapons pointed at Jia. Step away from the Kalag, one shouted. Jia didn't move. He won't hurt me. The beast kills everything. Move now or die with it. The guards advanced. Da let out a deafening roar and moved in front of Jia, shielding her with his massive body. The guards froze in confusion. Never had the Kalag protected anyone. Commander Tai appeared in the doorway. He took in the scene with wide eyes. The human standing unharmed, the Kalag protecting her. Hold your fire, he ordered. Everyone stay still. He approached slowly, his eyes moving between Jia and Da. The Kalag growled but didn't attack. Impossible, Ta whispered. Then to Jia. How are you doing this? Before she could answer, the ship shook violently. They were under attack. Ta's communication device beeped. Commander, we need you on the bridge. Ta hesitated, still staring at Jia. Lock down this section. The human stays here for now. To Jia, he said, we will talk later. As Ta left, Jia found herself alone with the guards and Da. The guards kept their distance, clearly afraid. Asterisk, he sees, but does not understand. Asterisk, Da's voice said in her mind. What does he see? Jia asked quietly. Asterisk, the beginning of change. The Vrak have a saying. When the stars align, the queen will rise. They have forgotten its meaning. Asterisk. Jia looked up at the massive creature. And what does it mean? Da's 3-colored eyes seemed to smile. Asterisk, it means you were never meant to be a captive, Jia of Earth. You were meant for something far greater. Asterisk. The ship shook again. Alarms blared louder. In the chaos, Jia wondered what twist of fate had brought her here, to this moment, face to face with a creature that should have been her death, but instead offered friendship. And why did Commander Ta look at her not with anger, but with wonder? 3 days passed since Jia met Da. The attack on the ship had been defeated, and things returned to normal. Except for Jia, nothing was normal anymore. She had been moved to a new room. It was still small, but she was alone now, not sharing with other prisoners. She still worked in the lab, but the Vrak scientists watched her closely. They whispered when she walked by. At night, when the ship was quiet, Jia would sneak out. The guards never saw her. Somehow, the security cameras turned away at just the right moment. She knew this was Da's doing. His mind could reach far beyond his body. Tonight, she sat cross-legged on the floor of Da's chamber. The huge creature curled around her, his scales gleaming in the dim light. "Show me again," Jia said. "Show me your world." Day's mind touched hers. Images flowed into her thoughts. A planet with 3 moons, mountains that reached the clouds, oceans of purple water. Asterisk, this was our home. Asterisk, Day's voice echoed in her head. Asterisk, before the Vrak came. Asterisk. You said the Vrak forgot things, Jia said. What did they forget? Day's 3 colored eyes blinked slowly. Asterisk, they forgot that we were once partners, not master and slave. They forgot that humans were chosen ones. Asterisk. Chosen for what? Asterisk, to bridge worlds. To speak for those who cannot speak. The Vrak were chosen too, for their strength. But they chose power instead of balance. Asterisk. A noise at the door made them both turn. Jia's heart stopped. Commander Ta stood there alone, watching them. I knew it, he said, stepping into the room. I've been tracking your movements. Jia stood up. Are you going to punish me? Ta walked closer, his clawed hand resting on his weapon. But he didn't draw it. I should, he said. It is forbidden to approach the Kalag without orders. It is even more forbidden to. He waved his hand between them. Whatever this is, I'm not afraid of him, Jia said. That is the puzzle, Tay replied. No one gets close to a Kalag without being killed, yet he protects you. Why? Before Jia could answer, a high-ranking Vrak officer appeared at the door. Commander Tay, the officer said with a bow. Admiral Sun has arrived. He wishes to see the Kalag. Tay's face hardened. For what purpose? The wars on the Outer Rim are not going well. He believes the Kalag should be used in battle. Day growled, a sound that shook the walls. Tay turned to Jia. Return to your quarters immediately. Say nothing of this. To the officer. Tell Admiral Sun I will meet him shortly. After they left, Jia felt Day's mind brush against hers. Asterisk, he is different from the others. Asterisk. Commander Ta. He still sees me as property. Asterisk, he sees, but does not understand what he sees. There is conflict in him. Asterisk. Jia made her way back to her room, avoiding the guards. As she turned a corner, a hand grabbed her arm. It was Ta. You have a connection with the Kalag, he said, his voice low. I saw it in your eyes. Jia didn't deny it. His name is Da. You named the beast. Ta looked shocked. He's not a beast. He's intelligent. Your people used to work with his kind, not control them. Tay's eyes narrowed. How do you know this? He showed me. In my mind. Tai was silent for a long moment. Then he said, Admiral Sun will take Da to the battlefront. He will be used as a weapon. You can't let that happen. I cannot stop it. Unless. Ta looked at her strangely. Unless you can prove this connection is real. That it has value to the Empire. How? If you can control the Kalag. Da. Show me. Tonight. As Ta walked away, Jia felt cold fear. She didn't control Da. They were friends. Partners. But if she didn't convince Ta, Da would be sent to war. And deep inside, she knew there was more at stake than just one creature's freedom. That night, Jia paced in her small room. She had to convince Ta that Da was more valuable as a thinking being than as a weapon. But how? Asterisk, I have an idea. Asterisk, Da's voice came into her mind. Even from across the ship, they could now speak to each other. Asterisk, the other captives hear whispers about you. Asterisk, Da continued. Asterisk, they, human who speaks to the Kalag. They see hope. Asterisk. Hope can be dangerous, Jia whispered. Asterisk, so can despair. Asterisk. A plan formed in Jia's mind. Bold and risky, but possibly their only chance. The next morning, the ship hummed with tension. Admiral Sun, a tall Vrak with battle scars across his face, was inspecting the captives. Commander Ta stood beside him, face expressionless. These humans are small, Sun said with disgust. Why keep so many? They learn quickly, Tay replied. They are useful in the labs. Soom snorted. Workers, we have robots for that. He pointed at Ja. That one keeps looking at me. Bring her here. A guard pushed Ja forward. I hear you have been near my colleague, Soom said. How are you still alive? Perhaps he doesn't see me as an enemy, Gia said carefully. Soom laughed. Everything is an enemy to a colleague. That's why they're perfect weapons. He turned to Ta. I want the beast loaded onto my ship by morning. Admiral, Ta began, the colleague has been acting strangely lately. Perhaps we should. Soom cut him off. Are you questioning my orders, Commander? Before Ta could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed. What now? Soom demanded. A guard ran up. Sir, the prisoners are escaping. All holding areas. Impossible. Soom turned to Jia with suspicious eyes. What is happening? Jia met his gaze calmly. The beginning of change. Soom struck her across the face. She fell to the floor. Ta stepped forward but stopped when Soom glared at him. Secure the prisoners. Soom ordered. Kill any who resist. As guards rushed away, Jia reached out with her mind. Asterisk day. Now asterisk. The lights throughout the ship flickered and died. In the darkness, Jia heard Da's roar echo through the halls. Not from his chamber, but from the ship's communication system. When emergency lights came on, chaos ruled. Prisoners ran through the corridors. Guards tried to stop them, but were overwhelmed by numbers. Not just humans, but all the captured species had joined together. Jia got to her feet. Soon was shouting orders into his communicator. Ta stood watching her, his expression unreadable. You did this, Soom snarled at Jia. How? Not me, Jia said. All of us. We are not property. Soom drew his weapon. You are nothing. As he aimed at Jia, Ta moved faster than she thought possible. His hand caught Soom's arm. No. You defend this human. Soom was shocked. You betray your own kind. I begin to wonder which is truly my kind, Ta said quietly. In the chaos, Da's voice filled Jia's mind. Asterisk, come to me now. Bring Ta if he will come, asterisk. We have to go, Jia said to Ta. Now. This ship will soon be a battlefield. Ta hesitated only a moment before knocking Soom unconscious. I just became a traitor to the Empire. What is your plan? Freedom, Jia said, grabbing his clawed hand. For all of us. As they ran through the corridors toward Da's chamber, Jia realized how strange it was. Once she was a captive, now she led a Vrak commander by the hand. Behind them, the rebellion spread through the ship like fire. Ahead, Da waited, the key to secrets that would change everything. And beside her ran Ta, a warrior who had just given up everything he knew. For what? For her. For truth. The answer waited behind the next door. Jia and Ta reached Da's chamber as explosions rocked the ship. The huge door stood open. Inside, Da waited, his three-colored eyes glowing in the dim light. We need to leave now, Ta said. Soon we'll wake up and send everyone after us. How? Jia asked. We can't exactly walk to the docking bay with Da. Ta pressed a panel on the wall. A hidden door slid open. This leads to my private ship. It's small but fast. Da moved toward them, each step shaking the floor. Asterisk speaks truth. We must go, asterisk. They hurried through dark corridors. Twice they had to hide from guards. Finally, they reached a small hangar where a sleek ship waited. Will it hold Da? Jia whispered. Barely, Ta said, opening the door. But it's our only choice. They boarded quickly. Da barely fit through the cargo doors. Ta took the pilot's seat and started the engines. They've locked down all exits, he said, looking at the control panel. Can you override it? Jia asked. Not without the command codes. Only Soon has those. Da's voice filled both their minds now. Asterisk can help. My kind built these ships long ago, asterisk. Tad looked shocked. You can speak to me too. Asterisk when I choose to. Now connect me to the ship's systems asterisk. Ty hesitated, then plugged a cable into a port near Da. The ship's lights flickered. Then the engines roared to life. It's working, Jia said. The hangar doors opened. Ta guided the ship out just as alarms began to sound. They sped away from the massive Vrak command ship, diving toward a small moon nearby. They'll follow us, Ta said. Where are we going? Jia asked. A place I discovered years ago. No one else knows about it. They landed on the dark side of the moon, in a deep crater. Tai led them to a cave entrance, hidden among rocks. Inside, Jia gasped. Ancient writing covered the walls. Symbols she had never seen before, glowing with faint blue light. What is this place? She asked. I found it on a routine patrol, Ta said. I've been studying it in secret. The language is old, older than the Vrak Empire. Day moved slowly into the cave, his eyes fixed on the walls. Asterisk, this is the first speech. The language of my ancestors asterisk. Can you read it? Jia asked. Asterisk, yes. It tells our true history asterisk. Day placed one massive claw against the wall. The glowing symbols grew brighter. Then he turned to Jia and Ta. Asterisk, touch my mind. I will show you asterisk. Jia didn't hesitate. She placed her hand on Da's side. After a moment, Tai did the same. Images flooded their minds. Not just pictures, but feelings, knowledge, memories. They saw a time thousands of years ago. The Kalags, Day's people, were guardians of many worlds. They had great powers of mind and spirit. They chose two species to help them: the strong, disciplined Vraks and the adaptable, compassionate humans. Both races were meant to grow under Kalag guidance, to balance each other, to someday take the Kalag's place as guardians. But the Vraks grew impatient. They wanted power now, not partnership. They turned against the Kalags, using technology to enslave them. They tried to destroy the humans, seeing them as rivals. What the Vraks didn't know was that the Kalags had hidden special genes in some humans, a connection that would one day reawaken. The vision ended. Jia stumbled back, her mind reeling. This can't be true, Ta whispered. Our history says we conquered the Kalags because they were dangerous beasts. Asterisk lies. Asterisk Daz said. Asterisk go hide the shame asterisk. And me? Jia asked. Why can I hear you when others can't? Asterisk, you carry the old blood. The connection gene. You are a bridge asterisk. Outside, they heard the sound of ships entering the moon's atmosphere. Soon, Ta said grimly. He's found us. Jia looked from Day to Ta. What do we do now? Tay's eyes met hers. We fight, or we run. But whatever we do it together. For the first time since her capture, Jia felt something strange. Not hope exactly. Something stronger. Purpose. We need to leave, Ta said, checking his weapons. My ship has stealth capabilities, but they won't help if Sun's soldiers land and search on foot. Where can we go? Jia asked. The entire Vrak Empire will be looking for us. Day's voice rumbled in their minds. Asterisk, there is a place. One your people built long ago, Jia. A safe haven asterisk. Earth? It's too far, Jia said. Asterisk, not Earth. The Nexus asterisk. Tel's eyes widened. The Nexus is a myth. A space station hidden between stars where fugitives hide. Asterisk, it is real. Built by humans and others who escaped the Vrak. I know the way asterisk. They hurried back to the ship. Todd piloted them away from the moon just as Sun's ships entered its atmosphere. Using the stealth systems and Day's strange connection to the ship's computers, they slipped past the Vrak fleet. For 3 days they traveled in deep space. Jia and Tai took turns piloting. During the quiet hours, Dai taught Jia more about her abilities. Why me? She asked. Why do I have this connection? Asterisk, the gene is rare but not unique. There are others like you at the Nexus asterisk. On the fourth day, they reached what looked like empty space. Nothing showed on the scanners. There's nothing here, Ta said. Asterisk look with more than eyes, asterisk Da told them. Jia closed her eyes and reached out with her mind, as Da had taught her. She felt something. A presence, a pattern in space. There, she pointed. Head that way. Ta looked doubtful, but followed her directions. Suddenly, the empty space shimmered. A massive space station appeared, built into an asteroid. It was bigger than any station Jia had ever seen. The Nexus, Ta whispered. It's real. Ships of all kinds docked at the station. As they approached, a voice came over the communication system. Unknown vessel, identify yourself. Before Tai could answer, Jia felt Day reaching out with his mind, sending something to the station. A code. A memory. Something ancient. The voice changed. A Kalag. And a bridge. You are welcome here. Please dock at Bay 12. They landed in a large hangar. When the doors opened, a group of humans and aliens waited for them. An older woman stepped forward. Her eyes widened when she saw Jia. Another bridge, she said with a smile. I am Minna. Welcome to the Nexus. Jia, Tai, and Dad were given rooms in a quiet section of the station. The next day, Minna took them to a large meeting hall where people of many species gathered. Our scouts report that Admiral Soon has put a price on all your heads, Minna told them. Especially yours, Commander Ta. The Vrak consider you the worst kind of traitor. Tay's face showed no emotion. I chose truth over lies. And that choice may save us all, said an old man who joined them. I am Dr. Kang. I've studied the bridge gene for 50 years. He looked at Jia with excitement. But I've never seen a connection as strong as yours. What does it mean? Jia asked. Dr. Kang smiled. There is an old prophecy, shared by many species. It speaks of a human who would bond with a Kalag and wear the crown of stars. This human would help restore balance to the galaxy. Jia shook her head. I'm just a scientist who got captured, not some prophecy hero. Yet here you are, Minna said, with a Kalag who chose you and a Vrak commander who defected for you. That night, Jia couldn't sleep. She stood by the window, looking at the stars. Ta found her there. Thinking about the prophecy, he asked. It's hard to believe, she said. Ta stood beside her. When I first saw you with Da, something felt right, like pieces falling into place. Jia turned to him. Why did you help us? You gave up everything. Tai was quiet for a moment, because my beast recognized something my mind didn't yet understand. And what was that? Before he could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. The Vrak had found them. Red lights flashed throughout the Nexus. People ran in all directions. Over the speakers, a voice announced, Vrak fleet approaching. This is not a drill. All fighters to battle stations. Jia and Tai rushed to the command center. Minna and Dr. Kang were already there, looking at large screens showing the space around the station. 5 Vrak warships, Minna said grimly, including Admiral Soon's flagship. How did they find us? Jia asked. They must have followed your ship, Dr. Kang said. They have new tracking technology. Dade joined them, barely fitting through the door. Asterisk, they want me. And you, Jia. And the traitor asterisk, he looked at Ta. If we surrender, will they leave the station alone? Jia asked. No, Ta said. Soon we'll destroy the Nexus to hide the truth. The station shook as the first shots hit their shields. Our defenses won't last long against 5 warships, Minna said. Jia closed her eyes. A plan was forming in her mind, not just her thoughts, but Days too. And somehow, she could feel Ta's warrior instincts joining in. The 3 of them were connecting in a new way. We need to get to Soon's ship, she said, opening her eyes. "That's suicide," Dr. Kang protested. "Not if we use what the Vraks have forgotten," Jia said. She turned to Ta. "Can you fly us to Soon's ship without being shot down?" "Possibly," Ta said. "But what then?" "Then we show them the truth." Within minutes, they were in Ta's ship, racing toward the Vrak fleet. Fighter ships came after them, but Ta's skill kept them just ahead of the blasts. "Ready?" Jia asked as they approached the massive flagship. "Ready, Dai," answered in her mind. Ta nodded. "Ready." Jia placed one hand on Dai and reached for Ta with the other. Their minds joined fully for the first time. Jia felt Dai's ancient power and Ta's sharp intelligence flowing through her. Dai reached out with his mind, far beyond what he had done before. On Soon's ship, computers failed. Doors opened. Communication systems turned on by themselves. They landed in a hangar bay where confused Vrak soldiers didn't know whether to fight or run. The three moved as one, Dai protecting them from blaster fire, Tai taking down anyone who got too close, and Jia leading them straight to the bridge. The doors slid open. Admiral Soon turned in shock. "How dare you?" he roared. "We bring truth," Jia said calmly. Dai stepped forward. With Jia's help, he sent images into the minds of everyone on the bridge. Not just Soon, but all the Vrak officers saw the ancient history. The partnership between species, the betrayal, the lies. Some fell to their knees. Others shook their heads in denial. Soon alone remained standing, his face twisted with rage. "Lies," he shouted. He drew his weapon and aimed at Jia. Ta moved faster, placing himself between Soon and Jia. But before either could fire, Jia stepped forward. She raised her hand. Soon's weapon flew from his grip and clattered to the floor. The room went silent. "How?" Soon whispered. "The power was always there," Jia said. "The Kalegs didn't just give us a connection to them. They gave us part of themselves." She looked at the shocked faces around her. "Your ancestors knew this. That's why they tried to wipe out humanity. They feared what we could become." Soon lunged at her with a hidden knife. Ta caught his arm, and they fought. Commander against admiral, student against teacher. Soon was stronger, but Tai was quicker. When Soon stumbled, Tai could have killed him. Instead, he stepped back. "The old ways are over," Ta said. Jia touched Soon's forehead. He gasped as images flooded his mind. Clearer now, impossible to deny. He sank to his knees. "What have we done?" he whispered. All around the bridge, Vrak officers looked to Jia with wonder and fear. The captive had become something more. 6 months passed. The great hall of the Nexus was filled with beings from across the galaxy. Humans sat next to Vraks. Kalegs moved freely among the crowd. Other species that had been enemies for centuries now talked peacefully. At the center of it all stood Jia. She wore a simple white dress. Around her neck hung a pendant made from a small piece of data-shed scale, glowing with soft blue light. Beside her stood Ta, no longer in Vrak military uniform, but in diplomatic clothes that marked his new role as ambassador. And next to him, Dai watched over them both, his three-colored eyes taking in everything. "The Peace Council will now begin," announced Mena, who had become Jia's advisor. Leaders from 27 worlds took their seats around a large round table. Admiral Soon, now simply called Soon, as he had given up his military title, sat opposite Jia. The anger was gone from his eyes, replaced by something like respect. 6 months ago, we were at war, Jia began. Vraks against humans, Vraks against Kalegs, everyone against everyone. She looked around the table. Today, we start a new chapter. The council discussed new rules for how species would interact. No more capturing. No more forcing others to work as slaves. Each world would have an equal voice. At the center of it all was the reborn connection between humans with the bridge gene and the Kalegs. Already, 12 more humans had been found who could speak with Kalegs. not as strongly as Gia, but enough to build something new. As the meeting ended, Gia stepped outside onto a balcony. The stars stretched endlessly before her. Ta joined her there. "Tired of being the Kalag Queen?" he asked with a small smile. Gia laughed softly. "I still don't like that title." "It suits you," Ta said, "even if you don't wear an actual crown. I'm still just a scientist who got lucky." "No," Ta said seriously. "You were always more." Gia turned to look at him. "What did you mean that night at the Nexus, before the alarms went off? You said your beast recognized something about me." Tai was quiet for a moment. He looked out at the stars. "Vraks have two sides to their nature," he finally said. "The thinking side and the feeling side. We call the feeling side our beast. It's the part we usually ignore." He turned to face her fully. "From the moment I saw you in that cell, my beast knew." "Knew what?" "That you weren't meant to be a captive. That you were special. That you would change everything." He reached out slowly and touched her hand. "That you were meant to be a queen." Gia felt warmth spread through her at his touch. "And what does your thinking side say now?" "It agrees completely with my beast," Ta said softly. Day's voice entered both their minds. "Asterisks, it should be. The three of us were meant to find each other, to make right what went wrong long ago. Asterisk." Around them, the Nexus hummed with life and possibility. Ships came and went, spreading the news of peace throughout the galaxy. Jia looked at Ta, then at Da, and finally back to the stars. 6 months ago, she had been collecting plants on a distant planet. Then she became a captive. Now she stood at the center of a new galactic order. "What happens next?" she asked. "That," said Tai, "is up to you, my queen." Gia smiled at the title this time. "Then let's build something that will last. Something better than what came before." As the three of them stood watching the stars, Gia thought about the strange path that had brought her here. From captive to leader. From alone to connected. From fear to purpose. And she knew that no matter what challenges came next, they would face them together. The human, the Vrak, and the Kalag. 3 parts of one greater whole. Just as it was always meant to be.